Let's take a look at doing drop sode from a double sleeve grip. Now, this can be done both righty and lefty. When you do it against a righty, it is super important. Can you put a right foot forward stance? So his even farther forward. So he's got a right foot forward stance. There are better throws to do from this position other than a drop sode. In order to do a drop sode, if you want to from this position, you have to get this leg to go back and put him in a left-handed stance so that you can drop through and then finish. And there are a lot of different ways in order to get that stance changed. But for the sake of this video, what we want to talk about is just from a left-handed point, okay? Where my opponent has his left foot forward and I have my right foot forward, and it creates the ability for me to get into position and then score, okay? And since the righty has to have right foot forward, since I have to get the righty to get his leg out of the way anyways, you can see that he's in the left-handed stance, okay? So even though we're only teaching this against lefties, it can be done against righties. You just gotta clear the front leg. So to start, my partner is going to be in a left-handed position. Hands are going to be up. And what happens a lot of times is we come out and we steal the sleeve. And then when we post, a lefty can grab my sleeve and then push my hand off. There, and they can push it off. And you're stuck kind of in this sleeve battle, okay? And now I have to do my best to make sure that he doesn't roll his wrist underneath and then take a grip on the end of my sleeve where we're both stuck. I don't want that. I want to make sure that when I grab his hand, I do a good job of keeping it pinned to his body where he can't get it. If he's going to roll his wrist underneath, he's going to put himself in such a bad position that throwing him with any other throw will be relatively easy, okay? So essentially that's what we have going on and why we have this throw is I'm controlling his sleeve, I'm looking for my post and he takes it off, and now I have the end of his sleeve, okay? When we're in this position and we want to drop, let's just talk about their hand placement here first. So when we square up and we drop, what I want to do is I want to put his wrist across from each other so that when he tries to elbow back and squat like this, I actually can use my shoulder here to generate a lift. Elbow back. There, right here. And when I lift, I can create a lift off of the elbow here on the top of my shoulder. With his hands crossed, I can create a lift. Okay, so I don't need to pull him too far off his base. I actually want that arm elbow in so it creates a shelf that you can get your shoulder underneath and create a lift. One more time. This elbow is basically going to stay in at his side. And then when we enter, we're going to square off. We're going to square off and then whip ourselves into position, boom, right here, where I can get his hands here to cross. That way I can get a good lift and then I can turn the corner and score. So let's look at the footwork here, okay? Let's stand at the 45. There you go. For the footwork, when we're off at an angle, what we're going to do is we're going to use our hip, okay? I'm going to square off. And look at me over-rotate my hip so that I can whip it back into place. Okay, so I want to turn and then throw my body weight from this angle here. Okay, you can see that when I square off, my foot actually makes a turn to here, and then I can dip my shoulder to get underneath and then square up. So I'm going to start with the end of his sleeve. We're going to go arms relaxed here to start, just to practice the entry and the motion. So I have both grips. Spread your legs a little bit. I'm going to square off. One, and you can see my foot here turn. Okay, I'm selling it to my partner that I'm making a rotation. One, foot slides over, crossing. You can see his hands here are crossed and I have his elbow here nice and tight to my shoulder. One more time. We're here, and it slides. Slides, I cheat that corner. You can see that my foot here is to the outside. When I square off here, I slide it in front so I can drive that knee across without him seeing it, okay? One. and then we can throw with our drop Sode. Okay, all the same principles apply. You want to get your butt behind the legs. You want to kind of lean off to one side, elevate and turn. And I'm going to let go of his hands so my partner can take a really nice break fall, and we can continue to practice. From this angle here, spread your legs. Square off, cheat that leg inside. And now that I'm in front of him, I can pull myself into this throw. Dropping, here's my shelf with the hand. Elevate, off at the angle for the finish. Okay? That's basically going to be the essentials for you to start practicing and hitting a drop Sode against lefties. Remember, if you're trying this against righties, you have to clear the leg back. Ko-chis, ko-sotos, whatever you can do to get that leg to go back. Once it's back, you can drop underneath and attack with this throw.